Jerry, if we use a dark book, we'll be able to banish the little creatures. We don't want weird impy creatures around. And as we quote from the dark book, it says, "My mum said I could watch it." Hi, and welcome to 1987 edition of My Mum Said I Could Watch It. Today we are watching The Gate. 1987. So I'm 11 going on 12. And getting to this film, I'm beginning to realize the difference between certifications in UK and America. This, I believe, would have been a PG-13. This would have been, um, frankly, I'm beginning to realize this Monster Squad. So many of the films that I had to come through some folderol in order to see, I would have been allowed to see at 12 or 13 in the cinema back in the States at that time. It's for those of you who haven't seen it. The Gate is a suburban family. It's a suburban nuclear family, mom, dad, Glenn, and older sister. Living pretty nice. Big suburban house, all detached, big green yard, and so on. Parents are going away for a long weekend of dogging. I don't know. Don't know. They're away for 3 days. I think there's keys in a fishbowl somewhere, just because I just want to understand what's going on there. Glenn is put in the care of his sister. First time she's been allowed to run the house. While this happens, just before they go, big pit opens in the outside of the house. This pit turns out to be a conduit for supernatural forces, which slowly enmesh within the house itself, summoning first moths, spooky sounds, then imps, and then big demons themselves. Now, Glenn has his best mate Terry, who is all the Warhammer. He is all the lead figures, and he is all the 1987. He explains that we need to be able to banish this with the power of metal. Um, and through the power of metal, then get to the next tier as people start disappearing, as parties start going, and bodies start popping, of the power of love, which once he's left on his own, Glenn is able to do with the most horrific eye in the hand sequence, which is the only thing I remembered um, from the time of watching it as a 12-year-old. It's Stephen Dorff's acting debut, I suspect. He's a child in it. And as a watch, it was a mixed bag. On the one hand, it's incredibly slow paced. uh, there feels like I'm almost watching one of those not slightly nonsensical Italian horror movies, in that there is a very vague sense of lore there that this metal album will have the lyrics that can banish these creatures. That his mate just happens to be in. His mate, incidentally, his mum passed away, and for a young man, I can imagine particularly that would have been hard. But nothing's ever really directly addressed. Um, Oh, of course, love will kill the beast. So, of course, that can be formed into a battery-powered rocket, and the batteries don't work. Which I gotta say, um, is the main draw for me in this. I don't think you get to see kids actually being kids in most films. They're way too smart. They're way too quippy. And when I say quippy, I don't mean sarcastic. Kids going is not difficult. Kids actually having the lines that they have of Wolfman's got nards is difficult. Um, it really does sum up 1987 style ethos, and the fact that we were living in a nexus of toys. When you think about it, the fact that we've got the sort of goblin figures, we've got the heavy metal music, even a bit with the rocket. My brother had just got a job at that time, Mycroft. Now I there's a it's like, it was one of those, what I realize now we would call a flex or humble brag move. Buy me a remote control car. Now we didn't have a garden, we had a yard, right? And don't get me wrong, very proud of that yard, but it was a yard. And he bought me a remote control car, which cost way too much money. And not only was it way too much money because it was a remote control car, it took about 12 AAA batteries to run, and that was just in the car itself, plus like another durable in the controller. And that would be maybe a day. Um, So batteries not included. It was such a bane of my life. And you Kaiser monkeys watching this with your trilennial USB C to C wireless charging, you have no idea. One of these days, you'll play a game that requires save points, and then you'll cry. Um, so watching kids go shut up, you shut up, and actually pooping their pants was really good fun. Even the kids' party wasn't that wild. Everyone looks a bit naff. That was reassuring as well. Uh, but it did take about a good hour before stuff got real. Having said that, for what the time is and what I believe the budget would have been at the time, the effects are really good. Whether it's stop motion or man in an imp suit being filmed being very, very tiny, it all worked really well. They worked on the perspective, they worked on the movements, and they worked on the animation. Uh, it really does have some surprising twists. Nothing really overtly shocking, nothing too bloody. Um, Gore, yes, in the sense of, you should always avoid viscous material. Would I recommend it to watch? I would say yes. For the last hour, the imageries that come in. I mean, as I say, the big one is eye hand stabbing his own hand. I don't think I'd have done that if I had an eye in my hand. I would have done stuff that was definitely NSFW. But watching kids be kids fighting demons with the power of metal. I mean, Jesus, I bought this today. I bought this today. White Dwarf 500. 1987 was a Nexus year for all of the genre that is in this, whether or not you want to be 8-bit, rocket, chop, or metal. Right, it's an absolute Nexus year where these things had gone from being nascent little fringe groups to actual commerce. Really took me back to that. And as such, for people my age, I totally recommend it. For the younger viewers, yes, Tom, I mean you. Skip to the 40-minute thing and understand that when that phone on the wall burns, right, you might not think much of it, but that's the router. Okay, that is in your terms, the router has gone and there's no Wi-Fi without it, or indeed mobile signal. Okay, so likes and subscribers are all gone within a 5 mile radius when that phone melts into the wall. That's the only way I think I could condition you to have a notion of the terror. One of these days, Tom, I'm going to make you use a pager. That that would I wouldn't, I'm going to get you to send text messages that has to be limited in how many characters it's sent. Man, you'll thank Elon Musk for Twitter. Uh, Effects are great at the end. It's a bit of fun. I wouldn't say that it's worth going back over the whole thing because unfortunately the longers are too slow. And it's not even 90 minutes. So I'd say it's worth a revisit and for people at the time. Otherwise, probably give it a skip. Okay, that's me. And don't forget to like and subscribe in the. Okay.